professionals. We honor them. My name is Robin Mara, and I'll be worship assistant today for Reverend Dr. Amy Rio. We are a flourishing, vibrant, and radically welcoming congregation, which promotes diversity, inclusion, and social justice. We provide a safe haven for creative intellectual growth, spiritual development, and a deep sense of community for all who join us. We hope our liberal religious values will challenge you to join us as a community that lives boldly and acts justly. To all our visitors and members, we're very glad you're here with us in person or online, and we hope to see you again. Your presence is a gift to us. We have just a couple of announcements this Sunday. Reverend Amy will offer UU 101. It's a Zoom class for people interested in learning more about UUs and possible membership. That'll be on Monday, March 17th at 7 p.m. Please let her know if you'd like to attend. And now Linda, one of the co-chairs of our social justice team, will be coming to tell us about this month's shared plate partner.
Good morning. So the month of March, we'll be finishing Social Action's first quarter focus, and the focus for this quarter was on defending democracy and civil rights. So the Share the Plate recipient for this month will be UU Justice NC. If you remember, our previous recipients for the quarter were Blueprint NC in February and Common Cause in January. I guess many of you would recognize UU Justice NC. We talk about it a lot, and they've been a major partner of ours for quite a few years. In many ways, being both Unitarian and North Carolina-based, they function as a link between Piedmont and the larger UUA and many local North Carolina partners working for justice. Probably you've heard the most about their Friday Action Hour. Every Friday, you'll find at least 6 Piedmonters, often more, from both Salisbury and University gatherings tuning in at 11 a.m. for the Action Hour. UUs and justice partners across the state gathered to recap the past week and take action on the issues impacting our state and country. Last Friday was, get this, the 248th consecutive Action Hour. They started it in 2020, and they have gone every Friday for 248 Fridays. And they're still going strong. Each session, actually before November, each session would attract about 35 people. Since November, we've hit 90. So we get a lot of people there. Besides that, they serve as a major resource for North Carolina UU social action teams to get involved and to be able to optimize their power in numbers. Much of the UU the Vote work that we did last year before the November election was coordinated by UU Justice NC. On March 30th, the last Sunday of the month, Caleb Graves, who is the congregational mobilizer for UU Justice NC, will be giving the sermon at the University Gathering service entitled In Defense of Hopeless Causes. In addition, since that date is the 5th Sunday when we traditionally have a social action event after the service, we're working with Caleb to design an action that can benefit Piedmont and UU Justice NC, so stay tuned for that. You'll hear more about it. This Share the Plate with UU Justice NC will help it to maintain their amazing staff and support their work with North Carolina partners and North Carolina UU faith communities like us. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. And for other important information about our beloved community, please see your order of service, or if you're on our email list, please check your monthly newsletter and weekly announcements. Whatever brought you to this place at this hour, we welcome you. May you find something you need, and may you leave richer in spirit than when you arrived.
As we move towards our chalice lighting, we trust the flame that we light this morning will light. We trust and know that light will always be found, no matter how dark the time may appear. We give thanks for this light before us, which reminds us that there is much we can trust in this world. I invite you to please join me now in singing the words to lighting our chalice, the symbol of our faith. I invite you to please rise in body or spirit for our call to worship, which is found in your bulletin. Let us join together with these words. We gather today to receive the blessings of trust. May the relationships in this room remind us that we do not have to depend only on ourselves. May the quiet we share help us hear and renew our faith in that still, small voice inside. May the music sung inspire us to hold tight to the restorative rhythms of the world. May the words offered remind us that we too have a voice, one that must be trusted and shared. With our hearts open, let us begin. Our first hymn is found in our gray hymnals, number 128, For All That Is Our Life. Please be seated, and I invite any of our young ones to come forward for a time for all ages.
All right, so we have a new month, and a new month means a new theme, and this month's theme is trust. Do you know what it means to trust someone? Or just trust something? That's a hard question. That's a hard answer to give, right? Trust is kind of a tricky thing to describe. Okay, sometimes trust is being not scared because you believe that the thing you're going into is going to work out. Trust is really about believing that something... You were scared in your house one time? Oh, okay. So trust can kind of be defined as having belief that something is going to work out or that something is going to happen. So for example, if you have trust in a friend, Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, all right. So putting away your toys is a thing that your parents have asked you to do, right? And so they are trusting that you're going to follow those rules, right? So we have different things that show that we trust people, and it might be having them do something for us and we trust that it's going to happen, or it might be listening to a friend when they're really sad or really scared and they need a listening ear. That person is trusting you that you're going to be a good listener. Okay, you knew it wasn't a gremlin. You trusted that it wasn't a gremlin, so you gave it to him. Good. I'm glad that you trusted that it wasn't a gremlin and you were able to give it to your dad. So sometimes trust is being honest or doing what you said you're going to do. So each of these blocks, we have newbie visiting us today again. Each of these blocks represents something you can do to build trust with somebody. So we have being a good listener, we have doing the things you said you're going to do, we have being honest. Let's think of some other things. Maybe doing something that was hard but you did it anyway because you trusted in yourself. So that's a different way of showing trust. And all of these blocks represent building trust. And the more things you do to show that you are a trustworthy person, the stronger your block tower becomes. But what happens if we stop doing those things and we stop being a trustworthy person? What do you think is going to happen to our tower if we stop doing those things? Is the tower going to grow? It's going to knock it down. That's right, Chloe. So if we start not being honest and we don't do the things we say we're going to do, and we're not listening and being good listeners, and we're not taking care of this space around us, and we're, not doing this and that and all of the stuff that we said that we would do in order to be a trustworthy person, do we have a tower anymore? No. And is it going to be hard to build that tower back up? It's going to be twice as hard to build up this tower now because we have to build up more things to show that we are a trustworthy person. We have to do even more actions than before in order to build a stronger tower. Yeah? A stronger trust tower. So this is something I want you to be thinking about this week is what do you do to show that you are a trustworthy person? Thank you for giving me that piece of confetti. I don't know where it came from, but it's very pretty. So we're going to keep thinking about that. And in our RE classroom today, we are going to be talking about trusting ourselves. So if you can help me put them in my bag. Can you help me put the blocks in my bag, please? Thank you. Thank you, Chloe. All right, awesome, A+ team. We're going to head on out. We're going to talk about trusting ourselves.
So we enter now into our time for ritual and sacred sharing. We share joys and sorrows, concerns, and milestones. We first light a candle for Myrna and for Thanksgiving that her surgery went very well last Monday, and that she is even here with us today. So glad to have you here, Myrna. So we light a candle for Little Feather with ongoing health concerns. For Susan B., who, and I believe many of us know she's certainly been dealing with health issues for some time now, but it's really intensified in recent weeks. If you're on our email list with our membership email list, you saw the meal train that we set up for her this past week, and she has been so appreciative of any of the DoorDash donations that you've offered for that. We light a candle for Orland's wife, Martha. You might recall had some burns and had a skin graft up at Baptist in Winston-Salem. She is back home now. The skin graft went well. She still has other health issues that Orland is helping navigate, so we want to continue to hold them in the light. We also light a candle for new members who joined the early service in Salisbury this morning. We had 3 people, and one was a couple with a wonderful little girl who's very active in RE. So we're excited they've officially joined us. We light a candle for all who've been impacted by the fires in California and recovery efforts. For everyone impacted by Hurricane Helene and ongoing recovery efforts. For our Muslim siblings with the beginning of Ramadan. For the relief of the people of Gaza. For all areas of violence around the world, including Haiti, the Sudan, the Middle East, the Congo, and especially the ongoing war in Ukraine and all who are suffering there. We light a candle for our country, that we will continue to do everything we can and to live in such a way that shares love and compassion and justice for all people, especially those most on the margins. Now, at this time, you are invited to come forward as you feel called to do so. You may come forward along the far wall. You may fill out a prayer card and place it on our prayer stand. You may light your own candle of joy or concern, or place a stone in our shared water. We now light a few more candles for the things we hold in our hearts which remain unspoken, and also for those who are joining us virtually to honor what is in their hearts as well. I invite us now to enter into a time for quiet rest, meditation, or prayer. I will sound the singing bowl, and during this time of silence, I invite you to settle into your seats more fully and to slow down your breath and to deepen it. And as you are gently breathing in and breathing out, to have this phrase go along with your breath. Let me trust in life. Let me trust in life.
Today's wisdom reading is Growing Trust by Rosemerry, Wahtola, Trommer. Now, since I've tasted trust in life, why would I ever slip again into armor? The armor of an insincere smile, sometimes as dangerous as the armor of a sword. Why would I ever try to know what to say, how to act, how to plan, when, with zero effort of my own, life itself will move through me, will rise up in me to meet itself? Of course, like the child I am, I forget this trust. I slip back into habit, believe I need protection, fear I am isolated. But I have fallen in love with life at a time when that might seem impossible. And this strange fact alone seems enough to remind me to ditch the armor, to cast wide my arms, to unsheath my heart, and say, yes, life, I trust you, I serve you. Why would I not trust life? It would be like a seed evading the rain, like a sunflower just unfurling, trying to avoid the sun.
Thank you, Robin. Do ask y'all to bear with me because all these beautiful blooming things around are just doing a number on my voice today. So I hope we'll be able to kind of continue to get through this. I've noticed as the morning's gone on, it's gotten weaker and weaker and weaker. So, but it's gorgeous outside, isn't it? And, when I drove up to the office door, there's some beautiful daffodils there, and I mean, just a beautiful day. So our newsletter arrived yesterday in your email inbox, and if you've had time to read it or to read what I wrote, you'll know that during this month of March, we are exploring the topic of trust. Trust. Now, there are many of us who do not trust easily, especially in today's world. So while this topic is challenging for so many of us, it's also quite timely. I think really there's no better time to talk about trust than in these days. How do we live as people of trust, as trustworthy people, in a world where people who live by lies and deceit seem to have so much power? Now, I believe that some people trust more naturally than others, and whether that's nature or nurture or some kind of combination of the two, who knows? But I think we all can agree that just living life can teach us not to trust. So I was a junior in high school when my trust in the fairness of life was sorely tested. I was convinced that life, should be fair, that if I did what I was supposed to do, things were going to work out the way they should. So in the spring of my junior year of high school, I ran for senior class vice president. Now, I was a top student academically, and I was heavily involved in various clubs, service opportunities, and my church. I dressed up appropriately and nicely to give a speech, and I stood there for a class of like 300. And I gave a speech that had inspirational quotes with some very specific ideas for our senior year. Now, some of the teachers later told me, and they said, Amy, that was really one of the best speeches they'd ever heard a student give. And so I felt pretty good about what I'd done. I had done all the right stuff. So I had one opponent running against me, and he stood up after me. Now, he was wearing his leather jacket from being a football player, and he wasn't involved in anything else. He's kind of been passing by the skin of his teeth, you know. He was known to be a partier as a 17-year-old. And so after one night the weekend before of some heavy partying, he had shaved his head into a mohawk. And that was very much a huge deal back in 1984 up in the mountains. Okay, so he stood up, and all he said was, "Yar, vote for me." And y'all know what happened, don't you? Yeah, you know what happened to me. So now, at least one of the wonderful teachers told me in confidence that, Amy, it was only like about 2 votes you lost. That made me feel a little bit better. But nevertheless, my trust in the fairness of life was just shot. Now, my mom did not offer many quotes to me growing up. She was a wonderful mom, still is. But she did say a variation on Robert Burns' famous words. "The best laid plans of mice and men are often gone astray." No matter how qualified I was, how much I had prepared, life had proved to me that it was not always fair, no matter what plans I had. So how can we trust life if we know it's not always fair? How can we trust life if we know it's not always fair? Now, another quote, which you have heard me say from this very place, and I know that a number of you have said as well, is the very well-known quote by Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. "The arc of the universe bends toward justice." And we continue to ask, how long is that arc? History teaches that it's a pendulum swinging back and forth, with a long arc at times. This morning, I would like to encourage us not to put our trust in what is taking place in society or the world, not to put our trust in wanting things to be fair. Now, our values as Unitarian Universalists call us to continue to work diligently for justice in the world. And we do work for justice here as part of this community, and we will continue to do so. But that can't be the outcome of that, cannot be the source of our trust. We don't have control over the outcome. We only have control over how we live and what we do. So trusting life does not mean trusting the outcome. It means trusting in how we are living. I think we all know life is going to continue to show us numerous ways that it's not fair. And trusting that we will change the world for the better will only lead to disappointment, bitterness, and cynicism if that is where we place our trust. So while we continue actively to work for justice in this world, how do we trust life? We focus on building trust in the smaller things around us. We focus on building trust in the smaller things around us, the parts of creation and the universe which bless us daily by their presence. Mark Nepo shares this wonderful story about taking a simple walk one day. He says, "It was years ago, but I remember it clearly. I was walking along the shore of the lake in the middle of the day, and there in the sun was a duck curled into itself asleep, with its slick tufted head tucked into its body. It bobbed peacefully on the lapping water. This little scene undid me, for here was an ultimate lesson in trust. Without any intent or knowledge of itself, this little duck, asleep in the womb of the world, was a deep and wordless teacher." Now, it was obvious that the duck would wake and swim its little patterns on the water, but this little creature's ability to let go so completely allowed its time on earth to be filled and saturated, even if just for a few minutes, with a depth of peace that only surrender can open us up to. Now, the image of that little duck asleep on the waves of the lake is something to which we can all aspire. There are countless times in our days, in our lives, where we can give thanks for the trust that holds us. It's just a matter of having our hearts and eyes open to recognize those moments. The moments when we see a daffodil blooming yet again on an early spring day. The moments when we share a laugh with a loved one. When we sit in a ray of sunshine on a cold day. When we feel our bodies warmed by our favorite hot tea. Or when we listen to the soothing rhythm of a gentle rain. Jeannie Harrison Nuwajar wrote these words: "God and life are to be trusted, not trusted to shield us from pain and loss and confusion." Okay? Not trusted to shield us from pain and loss and confusion, but trusted to sustain us through such passages, to provide us with all we need to endure till another day. If we can remain open and trusting, if we feel comfortable, we can see that all we need is here. All we need is here. It is here in the bodies we carry with us, in our day-to-day lives, in the community we share this morning and throughout each day. Everything we need for trust is here in this moment. Now, we don't know what the future holds. We do know we have work to continue to do. And sometimes we're going to see positive results of that work, which support the positive arc of the universe. And many times we're not going to see that result. Especially on those days, let's remember that all we need is here, within us and around us. Let's trust in the things of creation and of our world that we too often overlook or take for granted. Today we give thanks for a life where trust is abundant. May it be so. Blessed be. Amen.
Thank you, Anne. Now let there be an offering to sustain this place which is sacred to so many of us, a community of memory and of hope, for now we are the keepers of the dream. This month we're sharing, as Linda said, we're sharing our offering plate with UU Justice NC. UU Justice NC joyfully organizes Unitarian Universalists to co-create a transformative movement for justice through spiritual grounding, collaboration, and imagination. We ask that you place your gift in the baskets as they make their way around the room, and you're always welcome to give online at puuc.org or by texting PUUC at the number 73256. Today's offering will now gratefully be received.
We give thanks for your generous gifts, which enable us to continue to do the work of justice and to help create trust and love throughout this world. I invite you now to please rise in body or spirit. Our closing hymn is found in your gray hymnal, number 344, A Promise Through the Ages Rings. Before we extinguish our chalice, I offer thanks for all the many volunteers who help make our service possible on Sundays. And I do ask that if you will take your hymnals and place them on the cart near the piano at the end of the service. That's always a big help. So let's do as we do each Sunday towards the end of our service and take a few moments to give thanks, either in our hearts or with words for others to hear, to give thanks for the things for which we are grateful today.
I'm grateful for the fact that whatever I see on television, however horrible it is, I know that when I come here, a lot of people in this church are going to be feeling the same way.
Yeah, I'm grateful that no matter what is going on in the world, that we know we've got a good community to be here. So thank you, Gail.
Always grateful for Ann's music.
Yes, for Ann's music, absolutely.
And Leonard Cohen.
Yes,
Grateful for new beginnings.
for new beginnings. Yeah.
Getting warmer.
Getting warmer, yes. So,
Well, I'm grateful that Myrna's made it through another hurdle.
grateful, bless you. Grateful that Myrna's with us today, yes. So,
Grateful for Myrna to come help set up coffee for us today.
so Myrna helped set up coffee today. It's why I'm not surprised at all, knowing Myrna. So, I mean,
I'm grateful that we have some representatives who listen to us when we call.
yes, that there are some representatives who will listen to us when we call. Yes. I will say I'm grateful for the insights of our children, and I really am. No matter what's going on with gremlins or anything, I am just so grateful for their presence and always to have them with us. Well, we give thanks for this and so much more which we hold in our hearts this morning. Receive now this blessing. There is much to trust in this world. Let us go forth, trusting the day and sharing peace, love, and grace with all around us. Amen. We now extinguish our chalice, but we carry its light and its warmth and its meaning with us until we meet again. May we go in peace, believe in peace, create peace wherever we wander. May it be so. Now for our closing song, we form a circle, and you may hold hands if you would like, or you may simply place your hands on your heart.